Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to this week's Lemontea podcast. Welcome back, everyone. Hope everyone is enjoying the weekend. We are back here with another episode. And today, again, we got a special guest. We're putting everyone from our high school, and this time we got Richie Boy. Richie is a very close friend of ours, living in Japan right now. We're gonna juice as much episode as possible and see where we go from here on. So, Richie, how are you?
Yes, hi everyone. Thanks for having me. I'm good. How are you?
We're doing fine. I'm sure. We're fine. Richie is one of the guests that you guys know that I got a book, like a note that I want to invite some of our friends on. And
Oh, really?
yeah, Richie is actually always there. It always fascinates me that Richie have a very interesting um how should I say career path and overall educational path to choose to go to Japan. That
Mm.
blows my mind all the time. I think Richie and Koryo is two people that I want to interview and to really pick their brains and understand why Japan. It's such a fair. Um, I think a lot. I don't know about the two of you, but I follow a lot of YouTubers that actually decided to go to Japan for a career, and especially Trash Taste. I don't know you guys follow them.
Mhm.
Three foreigners that do go to Japan and started a podcast, extremely successful, and of course PewDiePie. So yeah, Richie, welcome to the podcast.
I like how you rank Trash Taste higher than PewDiePie, but okay.
Yeah, I actually do because I actually listen to the podcast. That's why maybe. Yeah. So Richie, why
Yes.
Japan? Why did you choose to go to Japan, especially during your university? Right, that's when you first decided to move to Japan.
Yeah. So I moved to Japan when I was 18. So when everyone went to college in the States or stayed in Hong Kong, I decided to go to Japan. So it's actually like not, how do I say it? It's not like a tough choice, but um I got accepted to universities in New York and
Mm,
also yeah, I think also in UK, but then they weren't like top ranked. And
Mm.
then I actually got Japan right after we graduated high school, so
mm.
during our summer break. And then it was one of the top in Asia, so I decided to just go to Japan.
So right
Mm.
after high school graduation, you received the letter from the university to go to Japan, right?
Yeah,
Right. Because I think a lot, especially in Hong Kong, as we all know, Hong Kong people love Japan. Everyone loves to go to Japan. Even in Australia, I got Hong Kong friends that would love to go to exchange for a year in Japan. Um, of course, the Japanese culture is amazing, and a lot of people love anime, and it's like a no-brainer for Japanese. I mean, Hong Kong people to go to Japan for travel at least. But you
yeah,
actually decided to go to Japan for uni. That is how long was that? 3 years? 4 years?
4 years.
Yeah. What?
Mm.
What? How does it feel like taking that step to go to Japan and doing the university?
Well, I think when I was young, I always go to Japan for traveling, like at least once a year. And I went with Ela as well. So um, yeah, like we are really familiar with Japan, and I was like, so why not try to live there? I'm
Right.
not, yeah, I'm not like a huge anime fan, but then yeah, the culture, Japan culture is something I really like too. That's why I decided to come.
Mm.
Right.
Yeah.
And did you know what was your level of Japanese before you went to Japan?
Oh, I was close to zero. So we had to take this entrance test once I get into my university.
For
And I was,
Japanese.
yeah, because for me, I had to take classes in English, but I also have to take Japanese classes. And
Mm.
that test determines how many credits I need. And so the highest level is 8, and I was level 2.
Oh,
Okay. Okay. I
interesting.
think that's fair enough, right?
Yeah.
That's not
So
bad. I think
yeah.
because I know like the Chinese characters, that's
Mm.
why.
Right. So they
Yeah.
kind of force you into like a Japanese language class. Is that so? Like, is that how it works here?
Yeah.
Right. because even in Australia, if you want to apply to go to Japan for like a year of like overseas study, you actually have to get level 2 in Japanese, and you have to go to Japan for the language course. That's how it works. Like you can't just like I want to be a doctor, I want to go to Japan to study it for a year. Like that doesn't work. It's always linked with the language course.
Yeah. I see.
I'm
Yeah,
I'm interested in like what even like made you want to apply for a Japanese university in the first place, because like I would imagine that um, very little of us like from our school would have a thought of like applying into Japan.
that's
Like
true.
as you said, like it would probably be like Europe or like US, and like yeah, I just never even thought about like applying to Japan because like like you said, like the language and everything.
Yeah, I think it was really random. I just tried to apply everywhere, and I went to Waseda, and that's the only university I applied for in Japan. So
Damn.
yeah, if I were really wanted to go to Japan, I think I would have applied for more, but I only applied to one. So I think it was kind of random, and yeah, I'm not sure why, but then I think because that time, like Koryu, Miku, and Yuka, they were all always talking about applying to Japanese universities.
Interesting. Though they were aiming to go to Japan.
Yes, they all applied to.
I thought
Wait,
they would
wait.
be aiming for America though.
Koryu did go to America at
I thought
first.
he did. Yeah,
Yeah,
he
but
did.
then
He
he
did.
changed his mind and went back to Japan.
Yeah, he actually also applied for Japanese universities, but he went to the States.
Oh, okay, I see.
That's
Yeah,
interesting because for me, like even if I got accepted into university, I'm not sure if I have the courage to actually go to Japan for study. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
I personally, I always feel like Japan is a fantastic place to travel. As an anime geek myself, like I love otaku culture, I love anime, I love all that. But going there to actually live for that many years, how many years right now you stayed in Japan? Is it 8?
I think 8 now. Yeah, since
Yeah,
graduation.
What? It's been
right.
that
So
long?
yeah, you
Been
have
that
like
long,
Wow.
Gabriel.
that's why I
We're
always
old.
think like
We're old as
yeah,
fuck.
we are actually we are almost 30 if you think about it. It's just a few
Jesus.
years
Holy
later.
shit.
So I
Oh my
think
God.
having that courage to actually go to a foreign country, especially Japan, that is so foreign, right? You don't even speak their language, and I think for them, not many of them speak English fluently, right? I think having that courage alone is actually very like that's very amazing. Like, I don't know what else to say. Like, were you
Yeah.
scared back then, like taking this step to go to university in Japan or starting a new life in Japan?
Uh, no, to be honest, no, because I traveled to Japan at least once a year when I was young. So yeah, I'm pretty familiar with Japan, and yeah, it's still in Asia too, and it's close to Hong Kong.
Oh, it is. Yeah, just 4 hours. Yeah,
Yeah,
before
like
pandemic, of course.
comparing to the States and UK, I think in terms of distance wise, it's close. So I don't feel like I'm in a place very far.
Right, and I know that you asked a bunch of your seniors and friends for advice. So
Yeah.
they didn't encourage you to go to Japan, but why is that?
Yeah, they said I shouldn't go, honestly, because I mean, I guess because we're in an American high school, so it would make sense if I go to a country that everyone speaks English. And also, they thought like for career wise, Japan wouldn't be good. Maybe like because coming back, like if I go back to Hong Kong, I wouldn't be able to find a good
Why is
job.
that? I think that's completely fine.
Yeah, I don't know. So I did try to do job hunting last year in Hong Kong. Like I was thinking whether I should go back to Hong Kong or not, but then
Right,
it was a bit tough. So there weren't that many opportunities right now
right.
for Japanese speakers. Yeah.
Really? How so? Because I'm not sure if you want to talk about this, but your job I think is relatively easy if you just move back to Hong Kong.
Yes. So I'm doing recruiting right now, but if I want to, like my next career as a recruiter should be in in-house HR, like a talent
Understood. Yep.
acquisition. Yeah. But then I wouldn't be able to really use my skills because I've been recruiting mainly
Japanese
in,
skill.
yeah. If I need an in-house HR role, it should be in Japan.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't know the regulations and everything in Hong Kong anyways. Like I'm more familiar in Japan. So like if I move back to Hong Kong, it will be I had to start from step one again, I think.
How is working in Japan in general? Do you think it's a very different work culture?
Well, I mean, he technically haven't worked in Hong Kong, so.
But I mean, yeah, hearing from you
Oh, I
guys, I
mean,
think it's
he knows the
really
general just like. Well, just explain like how do you feel like working in Japan is like.
yeah. So I'm currently working in a British company. So we are not like a typical Japanese company. So 40-50% of the employees are foreigners. That's why I don't feel like I'm really in Japan when I'm in the company.
Ooh, okay, interesting.
Yeah, work culture, but our company is really hardworking. So basically, they don't force us to work overtime. As long as we are able to hit our target, then it's fine.
Huh. I'm actually
Yeah,
more interested. I'm actually more interested in like the social like aspect of like being physically in Japan because work-wise, you said that it's mostly you interact with people who speak English more, and your Japanese skill set is more like to help with your job with recruiting, right? But how would you describe being a foreigner inside Japan, like being surrounded by only like Japanese speaking people, basically?
yes. So first, honestly, all my friends mainly speak English, so I don't really have only Japanese speaking friends. But I'm still in the country, and I think it's really good for foreigners who likes to explore and is an introvert. So
Really?
Really, really.
yeah, I think in Japan there's a lot of um in Japan honestly people don't like to um interact so much. Like in Hong Kong, you know how every one of our friends are like family, right?
Right.
I think
Yup,
in Japan
I would
it's
say
more
that.
like
Yeah.
yeah, in Japan you're more individual. So you do have close
Mm.
friends, but then it's not like they can be your family. It's really good for an
Ooh,
yeah.
that's
If you're an
kind of
introvert,
interesting.
yes, and you
Is
like to
there
explore
like
the culture, anime, I think it's really good to stay here.
I was not sure why you guys were so shocked about that. Like, don't you see all those like restaurants where they like make like single booth for
That's
you
true.
for
That's
like
true.
introverts to eat and
With
like it's like all the otaku culture, isn't that all about introverts? Uh,
I mean, yes, but as I think a lot of you guys do know that in Japanese the work culture like having to like accommodate your coworkers to like after work drink and like socialize with your boss, like you kind of have to like tahai, in Cantonese is polish the shoes if you like, kind of like, oh boss, you're such a great person, I don't, how do you say that in English?
uh,
suck up,
Accommodate.
suck up
Yeah.
to your
yeah, to
boss.
suck up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you kind of have to, like, you're kind of forced into these situations that are might I say wasting your time after work. I'm hearing from your example, I hear that that's not the case for you guys, I think.
Not really, but I do have to take my clients to lunch or dinner sometimes. But
Ooh,
yeah, not
interesting.
But that's like
yeah,
professional setting, right? Not like as friends or like.
yeah, professional settings.
Oh, okay. So it's like a client as in like the company that you're gonna help recruit from. So you want to like talk about like what are they looking for and stuff like that?
Yeah, so just like to build good relationship and also with my candidates too, like people I'm helping to find a job.
Mm.
I'll take them out for lunch or dinner.
Understood. I think yeah, I want to know more about the Japanese culture rather than your work because that's
Okay,
a lot more interesting personally.
sure.
No offense, but I understand that living in Japan is not easy because there are a lot of paperwork. I heard that even like applying for a iPhone like phone SIM card is like a whole process on its own. Are there any like inconvenience in Japan that you really hate?
Inconvenience in Japan. But yeah, you're right, like the procedures to create something is a lot of useless
Like red tape?
steps. Yeah. So like yeah, making a SIM card. Also, when I first arrived, I had to create a bank account.
Oh,
And
that's gotta be hell.
yeah, and then it was all handwritten. I had to write my address.
No.
Oh.
Yeah. And I remember I screwed up a few times when I write it, so they had to like bring me a new piece of paper and I had to rewrite it.
No. That's
Hands
gonna
like that.
suck.
And it's
Yeah.
not even it's those forms are like crazy, right? They're like so packed and stuff.
Yeah, so you can't even make a mistake or else you start over.
Yeah, imagine you're an introvert. Ah, go man that side. One more paper, please.
I was so I didn't know how to speak Japanese, so I asked Miku to help me that time.
Oh, that's so nice. Yeah.
The end, she just helped me write it.
that would be much better.
How
Yeah.
how long did it take you to like get used to their like trash system? Like as I know, like you can only throw it on like a certain day, right? And like if
Oh,
you screw up, like it would be really bad. Is that
yeah. So
true?
it is true. So for example, Monday, it depends on the district, but then Monday you can only throw trash that you can burn. And Tuesday it's only trash that are not burnable, so like plastic.
Mm.
And then I think yeah, each day is different. But for my building, we have someone who um arrange it for us. So
Oh,
I
okay.
just need yeah, I don't have to care about the dates.
Like,
Yeah.
cause I keep hear like I don't know, like on the internet, they're like you get like discriminated if you throw your trash on the wrong day and stuff like that.
Oh, what the
And
fuck?
and I also heard like there are neighborhoods where like they don't like foreigners living at, right? Would this you say that's true?
Yeah, I think so. Cause okay, yes. So let me tell you guys, I was house hunting, I think a few years ago when I was in uni. So it was my third year and my first time house hunting because I had to move out of my dorm after 2 years. And then I was looking at places in this place, and then I was really interested in one of the room, and I asked how much, and then they told me, for example, it's like 300K Japanese yen. But then they would say it's 400K for you because you're Chinese.
Oh shit.
Wow. I
Okay,
was
Yeah.
ex- I mean it was better than I expected. I thought he was gonna say no foreigners and just like not rent it
That's a
out to
25% increase. That's still pretty crazy.
Yeah. So some places, no, actually the places that she showed me was all okay for foreigners, but honestly, most of the places are not okay. So I already have a list, like a shorter list that I can choose from. And then there are some places that are more expensive for foreigners.
okay, I just want to be clear. This might not be a racist thing, okay? This might be like the risk towards the rent owner, you know, like the house owner, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
maybe like after a year you're gonna leave. So they have to find another rental, you know? Like it's not necessary because you're Chinese, they're gonna mark up the price, you know what
But
I
the way
mean?
that the
Like
way that Steve said
it's
it.
gonna be the same if you're Scottish or like I don't know, like Russian or whatever. That's the point. I don't think it's necessary because you're Chinese.
Yeah, maybe they had bad experience. So people back in the days, foreigners, they just tend to leave the country and not pay the rent. So that
Mm.
yeah.
would you would you say when I ask you some like really edgy stuff now, like
Yeah.
would in your like through your experience, have you like did you think that being a Chinese is a disadvantage in Japan or like did in more simpler terms, how racist would you rate Japanese people in terms of like through your experience?
I think it is definitely a disadvantage. So
Ooh, really?
yeah, Japanese they like foreigners, but when they think of foreigners, so um
Caucasians.
yeah, they think it's like a white or like a black person.
Mm-hmm.
So
I,
you know,
I I love how you very softly said black person. It's a white and a black person.
no. Yeah. So disadvantage, I think um there are a lot, but then people don't show it. So they're really, you know how they're really nice in restaurants and everything. So I don't know what they really think, but I would say it's hard. Maybe that's why I don't have many pure Japanese friends, because maybe it's hard for me to interact with them. Like how I interact.
Have you got into any situations before where being like where like that like it showed or like something
It's a
happened?
blatantly racist or like uncomfortable for you, maybe.
Yeah, definitely. So I think it was my friend's friend. So he was really drunk, and he's just like, "Go back to your country." Like,
Yikes!
like people say this often. I think. Like,
Your friend's friend.
yeah.
Okay, yikes! That's ooh.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, bye.
Okay, bye bye.
Does this happen like a lot, do you think? Or like do they usually go like you look Asian but you sound like the way you speak Japanese is weird, so like we don't like you? Is that how it works? Or like
Oh, I don't know if that's how it works. But then, first of all, if I wear a mask, they think I'm Japanese. So
Right.
I'm okay outside. Yeah. Speaking wise, yeah, I don't speak like a Japanese, but then they won't comment on my accent. They will always be like, "Oh, your Japanese is very good." So, yeah.
Nihongo jouzu. Nihongo jouzu.
Okay.
You know, no, I was thinking because you're Chinese, like people are just gonna assume that you might be Japanese, you know,
Yeah.
like at least appearance wise. But I didn't
Right.
expect like that dude to tell you to fuck off back to your country. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of fucked up. But yeah, I mean this is like Asian thing, right? Like you don't like openly be racist towards people. Like I always say Asians are the most racist motherfuckers out there. It's just no one understands what we're saying. But like at the same
Yeah.
time, it's like it's always behind your back, which could be a bad thing or a good thing depending how you look at it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
I definitely had experience in Australia that was like straight up to my face racist, you know. But like, but I'm not sure if behind the back is better.
Mm.
Depend how you look at it. I think it's fine. Like there are people that are assholes and there are people that are nice.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. But then I think they won't show it. But then, for example, on Twitter, Japanese, they say everything. So I read like,
Oh.
yeah, racist tweets and yeah.
Yeah, I think Japanese people on the internet are pretty brutal at times.
Yeah.
like what do they say? I never really like saw Japanese Twitter before.
Oh, so like I don't. So for example, this morning I have Twitter. I follow a lot of card shops because I like to collect Pokemon cards. And then there's this shop that says, "I think I'm gonna stop selling to foreigners."
Ooh,
Wait, like
which
any type of foreigners?
exactly? That's what I'm gonna ask.
Yeah,
What do you
They
mean
just
by
said
that?
foreigners.
foreigners. Okay.
Yeah, and then people started commenting, yeah, they don't even read Japanese. Why do they buy Japanese cards? Or like,
It's for the value. Let's be honest. It's fucking one, yeah.
yeah, and then some other person commented, yeah, they should make a restriction, only Japanese can buy it. So
Interesting.
it's like pretty harsh.
But I mean, at the same time, again, it's like the house owner thing, you know. It's like they just don't want to deal with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know there are restaurants that straight up in the front would say like no foreigners, right? Because they just no in Japan. I
Oh,
watched
really?
I watched a whole documentary on that. It's like there are restaurants that just say
That's
I
just
don't want
propaganda.
foreigners. Yeah. No, but at the same time, it's not that they are racist. They just because they're so like passive, they just don't want to deal with you or offend you or like cause trouble. You know what I mean? Because there's
I don't think it's fair to just generalize like that, Jerry.
I'm just gonna I'm gonna give them the doubt. You know, like
Yeah.
I'm not
The
gonna say
benefit of
all
the
the
doubt.
Japanese are racist, and I don't think so. Like that's the main point that I'm trying to get at. It's
Alright.
just I think it's a culture thing. You know, I don't think they're racist, but there are definite racists out there, of course.
For sure. But yeah, I don't see those restaurants anymore. So hopefully it's not here anymore.